I'm State Representative Rosemary Brown of the 189th District, and welcome to the Legislative Report. I'm joined with Dee Ranieri, who is the Vice President of AWSOM. So you will be hearing some dogs in the background, and we have a lively environment here today at AWSOM in Stroudsburg. And we hope that after the viewers watch the show today, most viewers probably know about AWSOM.
Hopefully.
Yeah, and if they don't, I think this is going to be a great opportunity to really understand what AWSOM does and how it plays such a role in the community, and just what a great job a lot of the volunteers do and how it all runs. So Dee, you're going to have a big job on your plate today to try to kind of get around this, and it's a big subject. So first of all, what does AWSOM stand for?
We stand for the Animal Welfare Society of Monroe. We were formed in 2009. We were formed by local citizens that were concerned about the status of the current shelter in the community. The ASPCA was shut down because they were a very high kill shelter, and that outraged the community. So AWSOM formed as a no-kill organization. Right. So our philosophy is no kill, which no kill does not mean that we would never kill an animal. We would kill an animal that came in, in pain, very old, very sick, that we felt that could not be rehabilitated. But most shelters in the country will kill because of population.
Right, and the lack of space.
Lack of space. Or they don't like the breed of the animal.
Right.
So they just say, oh, we have too many of those, so we're going to put them all down. And that's what a traditional shelter will do, but we're different. We will hold an animal here and take care of it until it's adopted.
And when we were speaking before we started, we talked a little bit about AWSOM and SPCA and sort of that continuum, that maybe to think that they were the same thing or that AWSOM was the SPCA. And so you just really wanted to make sure to understand that AWSOM is completely on its own.
Yes.
An individual organization, nonprofit.
We're private, nonprofit. Our funding comes a little bit of help from the county. A few of the municipalities kick in, but for the most part it's adoption fees and it's the public. We couldn't survive without the public support.
Right. And that's important to know because, for something to continue to function day in and day out, and with what I believe I hear in the community a lot is a tremendous need. Sometimes, even though people want to keep their animals, they just can't financially or whatever it may be. The whole world's changing a little bit, so they want to make sure that they bring the animals someplace where they know it could maybe get another family or it would be taken care of. So that need has grown and grown, correct?
It's grown and grown. Keep in mind that this building was built in the 1940s. And that's based on the size of Monroe County then. So that's the size that we have. Right. So we're always full, almost always full. We get animals that the police bring in that are strays, and we get people that have to move. They either have to downsize, they've lost their house, or they're moving back to New York or New Jersey or someplace else. We've had people that have been sick, elderly people, and they surrender us our animals. And it can be a very emotional time. I recall a family that had to move, and they had to move into an apartment, so they had to surrender they had 2 golden labs, beautiful animals. And they had to surrender them because they couldn't take them to their apartment where they were moving to. So the children came in and said goodbye to the animals. The parents came in and said goodbye to the animals. Everybody was crying. The staff was crying. It was just it's a very emotional situation to have to give up your animals because so many of they're part of the family.
They absolutely are part of the family.
And those dogs, obviously highly adoptable. They were purebred dogs. They found a home, but I think they brought them to us because they knew that we would keep them until they found a home.
Right. So you have so many different situations where you become just a strong resource of if you have an animal and anybody watching an animal that they feel maybe needs a home or they can't be taken care of any longer, you're really the first stop.
Yeah, we should be the first stop.
Right.
Especially, too, if you lose your animal and your animal gets loose. You have situations where there's fireworks and dogs get loose, dogs, break out of their pens, that kind of thing. Call us.
Right, because sometimes
a lot of times the police might bring them to us if they find them. That's how we get a lot of our animals here too.
Right. So even if you've lost your dog, call number 1 would be here to AWSOM as well.
Absolutely.
So when we talked about the funding mechanism and we talk about keeping this facility running with a tremendous amount of need, obviously there's major costs involved in safety and keeping everything to the level that it needs to be taken care of. So there's a lot of fundraising that gets involved.
Yes.
Like you said, some municipalities contribute and some don't.
Right.
So if you're interested, you find out if your municipality
Right,
is,
sure.
you can
Find
call
out.
your
Go to
local
a
municipality
township meeting.
and ask if they contribute, and if they do, at what level and why not.
Right.
But I think that's interesting to see, which ones do and if they're able to, and what they can do to help out. But on the fundraising aspect, you have a tremendous amount of community involvement. I know I've been to a bunch of the events that are just so nice and just really well attended. But what do you do as far as your biggest ones? I mean, I could probably mention them to you, but I'll let you say them as the yearly events that if people watching want to support AWSOM, how do they do it through the events? And then we'll go through some other ways.
Okay. Well, we've had events over the years, and they've grown into annual events because they've been so popular. The next one we have coming up is called our Fur Ball, which is every fall, late fall, early winter. And that honors some of the people in the community and shelter employees that we feel have helped AWSOM and get the word out and help us raise money and help us stay in the position that we're in. Every Super Bowl Sunday, we have a champagne brunch. And that's a very big fundraiser. It's a champagne brunch, and we sell jewelry and accessories that is donated, and it's usually good stuff. It's not it's not your cheap stuff. It's sometimes we get things from estate sales and all kinds of stuff. So that's
It's always
a big
nice
one.
Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah,
Have a nice breakfast, and then you go later and you have
it's
your
a full
wings.
day. It's a full day.
Right.
And then we have a tricky tray, usually in March, and that is sold out every year. That's at a local place. That's a phenomenal event where
Like
we
over
get
350
donations.
people, I think the last one had,
we get
right?
donations from all over the place, for the items. And then our fourth annual event is a golf tournament we have every August.
Okay, so you have that as well. So is there a website that if people want to look and see what the AWSOM fundraisers are, where they can find them in case they're just not
Yes.
on the mailing list yet or something like that?
On our website, which is awesomeanimals.org, we have a list of all the upcoming events. So that is the small adoption events, it's the big events, it's whatever we have going on.
Okay, great. Great, so that's a very important piece. Now on the other donation level, so say you have somebody that really just wants to donate, but they don't need to go to the event, they don't feel like they need to. How can they donate and help? Because I know that there's between food and between just small monetary donations. How would they do that?
Every little bit helps. We do have an avenue where you can donate through PayPal on our website. Some people give us $5 a month. Some people give us a recurring payment of $5 a month. Some people give us hundreds of dollars a month. It's whatever they feel that they can do. Some places out in the community will have canisters with the AWSOM logo, and people would just drop some money in as they're out in the community. We have a lot of students, a lot of young kids will do fundraisers for us at their schools. Sometimes they'll bring us money from a bake sale. Sometimes they'll get donations of blankets or kitty litter or supplies that we might need. So a lot of student involvement. Some kids will, in lieu of presents at their birthday party, say, don't bring me a present, send something to AWSOM.
Very nice.
So then the kids will
Very
come in
nice.
with all of their treasures that they've received, and we take a picture of them, put them on our website, and it's great that at that young level that there's some kids out there in the community that are so dedicated to us.
Right, and understanding how it plays a role.
We also have
And they can drop some dog food, right? Or
Absolutely.
cat food or whatever else.
cat litter. We usually have a supply list of what we need on our website.
Okay.
So people can always go there and see what we need. And of course, with winter coming, maybe more blankets are needed. In the summer, maybe not as much, so it's usually on our website.
Anything. So we'll put the website up and the phone
Sure.
number as well, where people can see if they have a question and call if they need to
Absolutely.
donate. So volunteer-wise, we're going to take a walk through the facility in a couple minutes, but volunteer-wise, people can volunteer their time. You have a great amount of volunteers already. But you
I'd say
still
we
always
have
need more, right?
over 200 volunteers. I mean, it fluctuates with the seasons. We have college students come on a semester basis, and they might not be here in the summer, and all that kind of thing. We have volunteers that walk dogs. We have volunteers that clean dishes. We have volunteers that just come and play with the cats. To walk a dog, you need to be 18. So if the younger kids want to help, we suggest that they come and play with the cats.
Great.
We have volunteer training every month, so we're always having new volunteers.
That's great.
We have fundraising and a volunteer committee. So that's where a lot of the folks, the fundraising comes in and they do the little events and they plan the big events.
Great. Right, so there's a lot of opportunity here for the community
Absolutely.
to become involved, whether
Absolutely.
depending on your age or whatever it may be.
Absolutely.
Well, Dee, you know what? We've got a good little overview of AWSOM. We're going to go through the facilities a little bit, go over to the new clinic,
Okay.
and kind of show everybody what you do here.
Absolutely.
And take a look at the animals as well.
Sounds great. It's a
Thank
nice
you.
day, so there's a lot of them outside.
Great, let's head inside.
Okay, good.
Did you know that in the corridors in the first floor of the capital of Pennsylvania, there are nearly 400 individual mosaics? The idea for creating these intricate tiles was first suggested by Henry C. Mercer in 1902. A year later, he received the commission to prove 16,000 square feet of pavement tiles for the Great Rotunda and corridors of the new State Capitol building in Harrisburg. Mercer set about designing subjects for approximately 400 mosaics. He chose as his general theme the history of Pennsylvania, and he soon realized that his tiles could tell stories. Although the arrangement seems random, the mosaics are very thoughtfully placed in the floor. The tile sequence is roughly chronological, beginning at one end with the scenes depicting the Native Americans. The mosaics progress into the story of European habitation in the New World and encompass the Commonwealth's triumph through process and intervention. Now you know.
Did you know that on October 4th, 1911, the statues that greet visitors in front of the State Capitol building in Harrisburg were dedicated to the citizens of the Commonwealth? In 1902, George Gray Bernard was commissioned to design the figures that embellish the front of the Capitol building. During the installation period, Bernard explained to the General Assembly what each sculpture symbolized. The Southern group, titled The Burden of Life, depicts the story of Adam and Eve followed by the fall of man in the forms of despair. The Northern group, titled Love and Labor, depicts male and female figures reaping fruits of labor and advances to a new Adam and Eve who gaze westward into the future. Recently, both sculptures underwent restoration to prevent further deterioration from their natural beauty. Now you know.
Welcome back to the Legislative Report. I'm State Representative Rosemary Brown, and I'm joined with Sandy Felon, who is the president of AWSOM, and we are continuing on with our tour of AWSOM in Stroudsburg. And we're inside in the kennel section right now and going through a little bit about when you come in, if you're interested in getting an animal, what the setup is and how the dogs are actually in their kennels and labeled and all the work that is involved with keeping this to the level that it's kept.
Right.
So Sandy, I'm going to let you do a lot of talking. Okay. So how many kennels you have and how this all works.
Okay, our indoor kennels, we take great pride. People often wonder what we do with our sheets and our blankets and everything, and if you could see on the inside of our kennels that every dog goes to bed every night and has a place to stay almost like home. Our kennels, people are allowed to come in and walk by, and we post them with their names, how long that they've been here, and a little bit of information about them. If they're scared, if they're male, female, fixed, spayed, and maybe how they got here, either stray and or surrender. And we also have a color-coded system. As you can see, Precious is an easy walker, and those that you've talked earlier that get trained into walking dogs, you get to do all the easy walkers at first, and then you get to graduate to moderate walkers, and then the harder walkers as we go.
So that's great. So that's for the volunteer level,
right,
to be able to come in and say, okay, I can take Precious outside. This is an easy level walking dog.
Right, and for persons that might be looking to adopt, right, because you have persons that don't want to be pulled, or those that just need a dog that's a little more quieter, right, or a harder walker would be somebody you want to jog with, the one you want to take swimming, the one you want to go kayaking with, things of that nature.
Right, a little tougher.
Right, but our kennels, we keep them really nice, and as you heard outside, we are one of the very few, if any, that allow our dogs to go outside during the day. So this is at night and when it's cold, or if it's during the snow, but then we allow them to go outside and get some of that energy out during the day. Which
is very nice. Now Precious here is just such a sweet dog. Looks like such a sweet dog, and has been looking at the camera and looking at us and letting us have our conversation. But now Precious had a little bit of surgery, came in a little bit with a need of surgery.
Correct.
And now is recovering a little bit. So hopefully soon Precious will be adopted in some fashion once once she heals a little bit, right?
Right. Precious is one of those levels of dogs that come in. Some of them are fine and we can adopt right back out, but many we get are stray and they come from abuse or neglected situations. And Precious happened to be one of them that had nerve damage done near his back, and the tail did not work at all. So even though she wanted to wag it, she could not. So we needed to get it cropped. And then we got extra medical help for her. We had her looked at our clinic, and they said they needed more help, and so we have coordination with vets in the area. Creature Comforts and Pocono Peak are our two main persons that we deal with, and they were able to help us out and have Precious well on the road to recovery.
Yeah, and I know we're going to talk even a little bit more about that when we go over to the clinic, but the amount of work that specifically a few of those vets do for you locally is tremendous.
Absolutely.
And you want to, like you said, continue to kind of build on that with the local vets in the area who have been very good.
Right, and level of need is so important because, again, we're run totally by donations, and people think, well, how much does it cost to just feed a dog or the daily things that go on, but it costs us close to $36,000 a month to run this shelter. And that takes a lot of doing, our fundraisers, but people just have to understand that we keep dogs, we love them, they're here until they get their forever homes, and we cannot do it without our volunteers or the persons that are so dedicated with the continued donations that come into us. And we thank the community. We have a passionate animal community here in Monroe County.
Absolutely.
And we cannot thank them enough for their continued support.
Absolutely, and I think that's why, with the fundraisers and things, people have, the hearts for the animals, which is the way it should be.
Correct.
Which is the way it should be. So how many kennels do you have here? And I know you're always full.
Yes.
And so that becomes a whole nother conversation, like we mentioned in the beginning of the program,
Right.
that kill as a shelter in the fashion if a dog's not suffering in any fashion. But the amount of dogs that come to you, the type of breeds that you don't turn down, that some other shelters do turn down, just take a moment just to kind of add on to that a little bit. I think that's a really important piece when you talk about being very good to animals. We're talking about all animals.
Right.
And we're talking about not, pulling and picking and choosing, which also makes you become very much, like you said, you're full all the time.
Right.
So give us a little bit of background on that.
Yeah, our staff struggles with this every day because we are so full and we have so many animals, and we get pit bulls just like anyone else get pit bulls. And
Well, that's what you hear about the most,
yeah,
right?
and we love them and they're here, and little Precious is a small little pitty, and everybody deems the dog dangerous, but it's the owner, it's not the dog. And so a lot of them just need a lot of love and caring to come back. But a lot of people don't understand that we're not a sanctuary, that we do have limits. And when we're full, we're full. And we get a lot of times people going, but you have to take them, and we don't have space, or we're just going to throw them on the road, or we're going to leave them in the woods. And it breaks our hearts when we hear stories like that. And number one, it's animal abuse. Number two is if you can give us time, we'll put you on a waiting list. We'll try the best we can. But we do not have unlimited space. We do not have unlimited funds. We wish we did, that we could expand in maybe some time in the future. But we can only take in so many, and people have to understand that we do the best we can with the facilities that we have, and they just have to be patient at times. And many times it's just something that our staff goes through a lot to say, just give us time and some understanding.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons too, even doing the show today for the viewers to understand, is the capacity and hopefully the intentions to expand down the road and to do that. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the other resources that if you are full, some of the other options maybe as we go forward. So we're going to come outside the indoor kennel and we're going to head over, I believe, to the clinic. We might have a short interview in between there, so we're going to head over to the clinic now. Kim Lafio, the manager of AWSOM. We are now outside the inside kennel, but we're by the cats, so we're still in the building. But we have a few of the cats behind us, and there's one that just seems to keep tugging at us to try to get our attention. But Kim, tell us a little bit about the cats here at AWSOM.
We have cats here in the front hallway. We do have a room full of kitties down in the kitty room. And then we also have, over at the clinic, we have a free roaming cat room where the kitties are able to actually walk around and spend some time with each other. And then you know that the kitties actually get along with each other. So it's nice to have.
It's very nice. So there's a very big assortment.
Yes, very.
Of the kittens and the cats here. So you just don't come right in. I actually thought this was your cats. I didn't realize you had a cat room as well.
Yes, we have kitty rooms, and then we have a free roaming.
Okay, very nice, very nice. Now I know also we wanted to talk a little bit about your home for the holidays.
Absolutely.
And that was something that was mentioned a little bit on the side before we started today. So give us some background on that.
Home for the Holidays is actually a very successful event for us each year. Dogs and cats go into foster homes for the week of the holiday. And lots of times they wind up being foster failures and they wind up adopting the kitty or the dog. So it's a great event. It's good for the dogs and the cats to get out and get into a family for the week, and it's better for us when they don't come back because they found their forever homes.
That's wonderful. So how does somebody do that? How does a family do that? Do they come in? Do they call you?
What we do is we have a Home for the Holidays foster application. They fill it out. We still do the same checks that we would do with an adoption. We want to make sure that that it is the right home for the dog or the cat. And once they are approved to foster, we then pick a date that they are to come and pick up their dog or cat, and we have a return date. If they want to return the dog or cat, they do. If not, we process the adoption.
Okay, wonderful. Now, although the title is Home for the Holidays, you know, very holiday.
Yeah.
But can this continue all year, like this type of program, or do you just kind of run it for that with the foster type of thing?
We run it for the holidays. The other times that we do foster is if there's a medical need.
Okay.
And then if we do have an overabundance, we will put some dogs or
try
cats.
to do that.
Right, absolutely.
But this is good. So this is really a special time
It's a
of the
special
year,
program.
and it really does make sense with the holiday season.
Yeah.
So, okay, so now we are officially going to head over to the clinic.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're officially now, we've talked about it throughout the program, we are officially in the clinic at AWSOM. And Dr. Jen, I'd like you to introduce some of your staff that works with you here at the clinic.
Sure, I'm Dr. Jen Mayhem. This is my technician, Melissa Cozy, and receptionist, Kathleen Bright.
So these are the people that you will see when you come into the clinic that are working very hard here at AWSOM. And so this is very new, the clinic, and just a couple weeks, and so we'll probably be airing this later on, but it's a fairly new clinic. It's been very busy already.
We have been.
And so I think it was a much needed addition to AWSOM. So what I wanted to do was just clarify for people watching exactly how the clinic works for AWSOM and who can come in and what you need to do before you come in, and some of the services that I believe that you offer that people would be very happy to hear about. So.
Yeah, anybody, the clinic's open to everyone. We take care of the shelter animals, but we also have appointments available, mainly Fridays. We will see some sick appointments throughout the week as well. We do surgeries basically Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We mainly do routine things like spays and neuters. We also can do dentals and extractions, mass removals, really a variety of different surgeries we can do here. Yeah, mainly anybody can come in, and it's definitely, you know, lower cost for people that, you know, can't afford the higher costs of some other hospitals, but it's definitely high quality.
Right. So you basically have the whole community that can come in here, appointment driven.
Yes.
For the most part.
Yeah.
So if obviously just like any of us that need to go to the doctor's office when we're sick, you have the sick appointments that you can call that day and see if you can get in.
Yes.
But you still need to try to make that appointment. It's really not just a walk-in.
Right. Ideally, since we are doing you know, a lot of appointments through the day and surgeries throughout the day, we do have to make appointments. So if you call, make an appointment, we'll, you know, fit you in. Sick things we try to see that day so that, you know, we can
As many as you can get in that
right
day.
Exactly.
Okay, so the cost of some of the services, like you said, very high quality, but the cost could maybe be a little bit more manageable.
Right.
And I think from the conversations we've had before in the show that, you know, the real goal is to have people to be able to own a pet and have a pet
Exactly.
and keep the pet.
Right, because they really are part of their families, and
Right.
you know, that's how we all feel about our pets, and we want to do the best that we can for them. So
Right.
that's our goal is to try and help them with that, keep them healthy, and you know, when they are feeling down, make them better. So do we do what we can?
And that's why I think this is such a great addition.
Yeah.
Because not only taking care of animals, but you, the whole AWSOM initiative and mission has really kind of worked really nicely together cohesively to say, we want you to be able to have a pet and be able to afford it and keep it.
Yes.
And we're going to help you try to do that at a reasonable rate with giving you high quality at the same time. So the cost of some of the neutering and some of the things that, you know, deter people from having a pet. So it is a lower cost for those kind of things, right?
Yes, it is definitely probably a fraction of the cost from other hospitals, so that they're able to do those needed surgeries and vaccines and anything that's ill.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I know from also the other conversations that, there's some local vets that have been very, very helpful and continue to be wonderful working with AWSOM too on some of the other things that are not always done right here
Right.
at the clinic. So there's still a very strong partnership and still very much
There is,
with the other veterinarians as well to help the animals, which
Yes.
is nice to hear. So since this opened, what do you feel, how do you feel the community has been?
I think that it's been very well received. We've had a lot of calls coming in for different procedures and appointments, and we've had a lot of people that have heard about us. So I think everybody's really enjoying the fact they can come in and do things that they need to do for their animals.
How many rooms are there and the capability of appointments?
We have, this is the surgery room. We have one exam room where we kind of come in and out with the different appointments.
Good, so it's a nice size. So is there anything that you think that the community should know that maybe they don't know about the clinic or about AWSOM and the things that you've seen when you're seeing patients? So your special patients, but is there anything that you feel that since the people are watching that they really should understand about their animals or about taking care of their animals, the preventative care? Is there
Right.
sort of that preventative care type of program that you can help with?
Definitely, yep. And I think that's the main thing is, prevention is better than waiting till something happens to try and fix it. And the main thing with that is especially the spaying and neutering as well. And just to get that done early before problems happen, because we've seen problems happen down the road. And then, sometimes it's too late at that point. But prevention is definitely the key.
Great. I'm sure, and I'm just assuming, I'm sure you act as a very good resource for dog training and those kind of things. So kind of like a resource to kind of say, okay, well, we may suggest that you try this, you try that. I'm sure people can call you with some of those type of things as well.
Oh, sure. Yep. Always willing to give out advice, and anything that we, anything that people need, we can give out advice on that. So they just give us a call.
Okay, wonderful. Well, listen, thank you very much for all that you do, and good luck with
Thank
as you
you.
continue here. This is the Legislative Report. I'm State Representative Rosemary Brown. If you have any questions regarding this show or any other state-related matters, please feel free to contact my office.